It's the morning of May 16th, 1934, and the RMS Olympic has just arrived in New York. She's completed her latest voyage from Southampton, but this voyage did not go as planned. Aboard her are the survivors of the ship which Olympic has just sunk. And this is their story.
Very sorry it happened, but we did our best. Our boats are away in very quick time, and everything was done that we could do for them.
I would like to confirm that what the captain says.
The RMS Olympic was the sister ship to the ill-fated Titanic and Britannic. Launched in 1911, she was the largest ship in the world. But now, in the 1930s, her career is quickly coming to an end. However, she's been refitted several times, drastically altering her interiors. The most notable of which was the installation of a dance floor and movie theater, added to the first-class dining saloon for the enjoyment of first-class passengers. And more drastically, the painting of her grand staircase in a new, more modern green. These attempts at keeping her profitable were failing, as passenger numbers continued to plummet during the Great Depression, facing steep competition from German liners the likes of SS Bremen and Europa. But this is the RMS Olympic. She has a wonderful war record, she sank enemy submarines, she has a reputation to uphold, and she's not going away without a bang. It's May 15th, 1934. And the Olympic is plowing steadily through the Atlantic, homing in on a lightship's radio signal. At 52,000 tons displacement, Olympic dwarfed nearly every other vessel she met, and at 23 knots, she was a beast in motion. But these two ships are soon enveloped in every mariner's nightmare: fog. By 5 a.m. on May 15th, the fog had grown thick, too thick. Olympic was forced to slow first to 16 knots, and then down to 12. The lightship's signals were clear. Now, and radio and foghorn alike, they sounded off the starboard bow. Captain John Binks of the Olympic adjusted course 10 degrees to port, slowed to 10 knots, but he couldn't make contact with the lightship. The foghorn still sounded faint, and off the starboard bow. It seemed they were safe, but then, out of the mist, she appeared, dead ahead. The lightship LV-117, just 630 tons, barely a ripple compared to Olympic's mass. She is stationary and has both of her anchors deployed. There's nothing the crew can do but brace for impact. On the Olympic, orders flew. The rudder was put hard to port and the engines full astern, but at 11:06 a.m. it was too late. The Olympic collided with LV-117 and she was barely moving, just 3 knots, but it didn't matter. The sheer weight, the kinetic force, crushed the lightship like it was driftwood. On the lightship, for the crew of 11, it was utter chaos. The impact wasn't loud, there was no explosion, just a horrible grinding push. The Olympic kept coming. Some dove in the water, others never stood a chance. Olympic's crew responded fast. Lifeboats hit the water almost before the liner had stopped. Life-saving buoys were thrown, and their flares were illuminated. They searched in silence in the fog so thick they disappeared from view. Aboard the Olympic, passengers barely noticed what happened. One first-class passenger, Sir Arthur Steele Maitland, described it as a slight jar, but when the engines reversed, the ship shuddered with unnatural force. People gathered on deck, confused. The smell of oil and bits of wreckage were the only signs that something had gone wrong. In total, 7 men were rescued, but 3 later died in Olympic's hospital. The rest of LV-117's 11-man crew went down with the ship. At 12:29 p.m., with no more survivors in sight, Olympic resumed her voyage, and when the giant liner arrived in New York, the cameras were there to capture it and interview the survivors. For the Olympic, this was yet another black mark in her illustrious career, coming quickly to an end. But for the crew of LV-117, it was a difficult time. Captain Braithwaite was noted to be particularly concerned for his surviving crewmen, admiring Olympic's grand staircase. These are the stories they left us.
Roberts, an oiler, Perry, radio operator, and mate Mosher saved by the liner's lifeboats. The mate tells his story first.
It all happened so quick we had no chance to really know just how it did happen. We all had our life preservers. It's a good thing we did. Well, at the time of the smash, I was in the radio cabin. I had barely time to get on deck and swim for my life.
I was sound asleep at the time of the crash. It's really a mystery that I come up so sudden. But the lifeboat crew was sure on a job at a time.
LV-117 was quickly replaced by Cunard White Star Line, who paid for the construction of LV-112. And just 1 year later, in 1935, the Olympic would be retired and sold for scrap, just one of the many victims of the Great Depression. Thank you for watching Time Travel. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.